Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to InfernoKun, back with The Walking Dead, the final season, here talking about my episode 1 predictions. What's gonna happen in episode 1, and what do I think could happen in that episode. So, before we go ahead and start, I want to go ahead and thank you guys so much for the support on the channel. Be sure to keep on liking my videos if you guys do enjoy, and leave comments, all that kind of stuff. It helps out a lot, and it's pretty much awesome. So, for the most part, I also want to go ahead and add, I'm going to try to do this more often now, if you guys do have your own episode 1 predictions that you want to go ahead and share with me, comment them down below, and they could possibly most likely be featured in my follow-up video or my next video for the most part, because I want to go ahead and try to do this more often, where I take your predictions from any point in time and basically put them into a video to have more of a discussion. Can't wait to see what you guys have in terms of predictions, because that would be pretty awesome. Am I right? Feels kind of awesome just, thinking about what's going to happen in the first episode, and kind of just, make guesses on what's going to happen and how it's going to happen and various things like character interaction. So that is definitely pretty cool. So let's go ahead and jump into what I think is going to happen in episode 1. Let's go ahead and start off with the beginning, okay? Judging by what they said in various different interviews and various things like that, they say we're starting off with, of course, the time skip where we have Clementine and AJ together. Now, for the most part, I was hoping that we would actually be, searching for AJ in the first little bit of the episode, and then we kind of go to a time skip kind of like at the 30-minute mark. But we are starting off with, of course, AJ and Clem together, which is a pretty big thing because, of course, she lost him in A New Frontier and wanted to go ahead and find him for the final season. So obviously they are alone. They have no kind of basically group or anything. Everyone Clementine knows is pretty much dead, with the exclusion of Javier and all of them, which they aren't coming back based on what they told us in a little Q&A. So for the most part, she has no group now. She has no friends who be around. She went to go ahead and find AJ and go on about her life and live on. So pretty much, judging by that, them being alone, she has to establish some rules with AJ, and based upon what we saw in the whole, little teaser trailer, those rules are, of course, never go alone, and then always take the last bullet for yourself, and what happens if Clementine gets bitten. Those are the rules, and I'm wondering if we will actually establish those rules ourselves based upon our choices. How Lee would say, how in season 1, whenever you choose to go ahead and say with Lee to either keep your hair short, stay away from big cities, or whatever, you can go ahead and choose your rules for Clementine. And I'm wondering, will that be the same thing for AJ? Will our choices that we make, with our rules affect what happens to Clementine? That's a big if, but maybe if you choose to go ahead and give him a set of rules that affects his combat with walkers, that would be pretty awesome instead. So for the most part, since in the little teaser she says to never go alone, she probably wants to find a group, and that could actually lead her to discovering the boarding school group and possibly scouting for supplies, and ends up running into them. And judging by what happens in the one gameplay that we got, where she's pretty much at the train station from the concept art with her and AJ, she goes ahead and fights that unscripted walker, and that's where the train station is. So that could possibly be where they encounter some trouble and possibly get separated from AJ, judging by what happens happens. If you go ahead and look at the boarding school where Clementine runs up and hugs AJ, she has no hat on, and she kind of runs and hugs him as if she lost him or she was scared of losing him. So that could be what happened. She probably got separated from AJ, and that could explain why she runs and hugs AJ for the most part. So, but you can see that, Marlon has given AJ his own room probably, and he probably found AJ and started to treat him as, one of his own, like a boarding school kid himself. So judging by that, it could be a very accepting group. They probably haven't had too many betrayals for the most part, and they really just accept people in without knowing too much and just wants to help people. So that could be why Marlon actually, lets AJ in and lets Clementine in, and why he's so nice. So that could be what's going on here. They probably found Clementine as well, started treating her nice, and then that could be why Clementine actually thinks that, okay, this whole group is very skeptical. Because at the one scene where we have AJ and Clementine, sitting down, you can kind of see her thinking that, oh, we shouldn't trust them. That could be an option to go ahead and think that way for Clementine, because judging by that, AJ thinks that, they are nice, and that could be a little learning lesson for AJ that, never trust people who are too nice, because they could be tricking you into letting your guard down, and that can always lead to a very, very bad thing. So that is that for the most part. Meeting the rest of the group, we will actually do that. Okay, we will meet Violet, who is said to be the serious one, kind of serious but kind of sarcastic, kind of like how Molly is, I believe, Molly and Jane. So she probably won't initially like or trust Clementine for the most part. So that could be our first encounter with Violet. Moving on to Lewis, he's said to be the jokester of the group, the jokester and the non-serious guy. So he could be saying some Omid level jokes for the most part. So that is that. And then 10, he could be possibly afraid, because he's said to be kind of a scaredy type guy for the most part, who has lived half his life in the apocalypse and half outside. So pretty much he might not be too welcoming to Clementine, and could be a little bit scared of her for the most part, because she's a stranger who kind of looks very intimidating for the most part. And then we have Marlon, who is definitely the leader of the group, of course, who's said to be the leader at least. He could possibly be accepting of Clementine and AJ, and that could lead to, some things between, 10, Lewis, and Violet being very on ice. So, judging by that, that's how we're gonna initially, get into at least the halfway mark. What's gonna happen there? What's gonna happen that's gonna be big towards the end, okay? So, judging by what I think, I don't know what you guys think, but something big always happens at the end of episode 1. In season 1, we had the death of Carly or Doug. In season 2, we had the bite or death of Pete. And season 3, we had the death of Mariana. So what's going to happen here? Who's going to die? Who's going to, return maybe? So I'm not sure who they can actually kill off at the end of the episode. That'll make it surprising, because we have a new group here. We have, the boarding school group. We have AJ. He's not gonna die, but the boarding school characters could die. And judging by how much we get in this episode of them, it won't be enough to kind of make a serious impact on our feels. Okay, so, but judging by that, the possibilities could be the death of Marlon, which could open up the opportunity for Clementine to go ahead and assume leadership. But alternatively, they could actually, have a reveal of who returns in the first episode, because we are said to get 1 or 2 returning characters, and I believe it is very possible for them to go ahead and show off the returning of these 1 or 2 characters. And I believe that it is either or both of them, Lily or Krista. Man, I really do want Krista back, but I really want Lily back, and those could be the 2 options there. I really hope they are. That'd be a pretty cool reveal in the first episode, because basically what I think would be a smart thing to do is go ahead and do that at the end. Therefore, you're building up hype already for the next episode, episode 2. And the community will be pretty stoked to kind of go ahead and see this character or 2 characters actually being back and ready for the next episode for the most part. So, what do you guys think about that? What's gonna happen at the end to kind of go ahead and have a cliffhanger, a important scene at the end? What's gonna happen? Because I think it could actually be the death of Marlon, the leader of the group, because they said that in this season that Clementine will act as sort of a leader. Having Marlon die would be a pretty big thing, because he can be like, hey Clem, take care of my group, make sure they're all great. And it could be a nice, role of power for Clementine to go ahead and manage this group. It would be weird because, obviously Violet and all of them have the most experience, but of course Clementine will probably be the oldest, and that could be, why she ends up leading the boarding school group. So what do you guys think about that? Clementine just having control of this group, and then having Rosie as well, the dog as well. That'd be pretty cool to kind of have that little interaction, because of course she is afraid of dogs based upon what they said in an interview, and for the most part it'd be cool to kind of see her actually, you know, being afraid, and then afterwards, you know, maybe if Marlon dies, then she has to take care of Rosie and they become partners. That'd be pretty cool as well. So this was added in after the fact of me recording the video, but I want to go ahead and add to this that I wanted to like think about what's gonna happen to the boarding school, the whole place they're boarded up at for the most part, because the boarding school, we've seen, you know, concept art, we've seen the videos, man, it looks pretty nice, and I hope that it lasts at least through the first episode, because one of my favorite things about The Walking Dead season 1 was that you stayed at the motor inn for a while. Like in episode 1 you stayed there kinda at the half of it, then in episode 2 you stayed there for the full episode, in episode 3 you even stayed there for at least half the episode, which was pretty great because you got to see things happen in that place that pretty much affected the team around them. You know, once it got really unsafe, you know, bandits started coming in, you know, it got very dangerous to go ahead and stay, and I loved how we stayed there for a pretty good while before we left, and I hope we actually stay at the boarding school for at least, you know, the first episode, maybe at least halfway into the second episode to see, you know, what kind of stuff happens there, because we do have 4 episodes only, so, you know, normally I would say maybe we could stay there to the beginning of episode 3, but, you know, it is possible, but I do hope we stay there for a little while before we get run out of there. And how are we going to get run out of there, you know? Will it be bandits coming by to go ahead and take our stuff? And that was why I'm gonna go ahead and tie into the whole death of Marlon, you know? Maybe somebody comes and attacks the boarding school and ends up, you know, killing Marlon in the process, and maybe we don't actually lose it completely, but we do lose Marlon, and maybe Clementine goes ahead and assumes control over it, being the possibly oldest one there to go ahead and, you know, be responsible for this. So what do you guys think about them just constantly moving? Do you guys like that? It was a big, you know, part of The Walking Dead season 2, but and New Frontier, but, you know, I loved how it was, you know, we were stationary kinda a little bit in season 1. We kind of stayed there, you know, a little bit in the second episode. Then we kind of went to the St. John Dairy, but we were still, you know, that was still our main base of operations, you know. And then in episode 3 we stayed there for at least, you know, a little bit of the episode, and that was that, you know, that was pretty much that. So that's pretty cool. What do you guys think about that for the most part? So that's just my opinions on basically the whole setting, you know. It'd be pretty cool to see what happens to the boarding school over time. Will we leave it in the first episode, or will it be our main base of operations for at least the first 1 or 2 or 3 episodes before we end up eventually leaving it for whatever reason we want? Maybe a boat, maybe a nice good old boat. Yeah, those are my predictions for the most part regarding episode 1. There could be some big things happening at the end, I believe, but for the most part, we'll see about that. So, what do you guys think of my predictions? Am I just downright wrong? Are they horrible? They might be, I'm not sure, but for the most part, thank you guys for watching once again. Be sure to go ahead and comment down below your predictions for The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 1. Of course, they will be chosen to, you know, be in my next video or my next follow-up video for this video, at least, if you guys do have any predictions, so I can go ahead and respond for that and kind of give you guys some more discussions and love, because you guys have been killing it on the channel, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you guys once more. If you guys have enjoyed, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on the channel. I'm InfernoKun, and I'll catch you guys next time on The Walking Dead.